Joining me now is Patrick Wood to talk about, well, a big land grab, it looks like. Look at this headline from Technocracy.news. 250 million acre bonanza. 250 million acre bonanza. Technocrats' big, beautiful land grab. Something says to me this has got to be about data centers. Yeah. I don't know. Let's see what Patrick Wood thinks. And then we have another article I want to talk about with him at Technocracy.news, and that is about Mexico. Is Mexico the new China? Joining me now is Patrick Wood, the purveyor of Technocracy.news. Patrick, welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right. Is this in the big, one big, beautiful bill? Is that what this is in, the BBB?
It is. Believe it or not.
And
yeah, we discover more stuff as time goes on.
Yeah, that's why you got to run these things through fast before people find out about it, right?
I know.
So
exactly.
250 million acre bonanza. That's a lot of land. Now,
A lot.
What does this bill, this provision, this amendment in here do?
Well, it's providing for the immediate sale of like 2.2 plus million acres, and beyond that, however, it unlocks 250 million acres in the future to be sold off. Now, this is not specified who is going to buy it. It's not going to be you and me, I don't think. Trump could have invoked a Homestead Act where ordinary Americans could buy land. That happened, like in the 1800s. That's not happening right now. So the only people who have the money to put into this project is basically going to be the billionaires of the world, right? Mm-hmm. And the Black Rocks and the State Street and those type of people. It won't be you and me, unfortunately. And at this point, it appears there's loopholes in this that could tie the land use to AI initiatives on AI for 10 years, removing the property from local control. So, for instance, in Nevada, there's lots of land in Nevada that is owned by the federal government. If 1 million acres was taken out of their tax base, if you will, and put into the hands of who knows who, we don't know, but the local zoning authorities would not have any say over how this land would be used. That's a big
So they
problem.
could put up data centers right next to subdivisions.
Yes, exactly. So
data centers right up next to subdivisions. The local community would have nothing to say about it, which fits with that provision in the BBB that states will have no control over AI for 10 years, right?
That's exactly right. I'm sure this is going to be bigger than just AI at this point because Trump has already intimated, and so has Lutnick, Secretary of Commerce. They've both alluded to taking all of the land that is owned by the federal government, like 630 million acres. That's a lot of land, like 30% plus of our country.
Wait a minute, 30%. I don't want to interrupt your flow of thought, so put a pin in that. But when you say 30%, we've had Margaret Byfield on here for what, 3 years, Logan? And she was warning us 3 years ago about Biden's 30 by 30. The federal government taking 30% of the land by 2030. And you're telling me that's in this bill.
Well, I know. This is absolutely insane. And this 30 by 30 project, by the way, is not dead, not by a long shot. But in any case, to say that Trump and Lutnick are lusting over the natural resources of America has been very clearly stated by them. So the fact that perhaps 250 million acres would be sold off to the highest bidder, maybe the Exxons of the world, maybe the military and industrial complex, who knows? but this will not be land that could be controlled by local authorities.
What if it were going to be sold? I mean, I'm just thinking out loud here. If President Trump is not a big fan of the Federal Reserve, which I'm not a big fan of the Federal Reserve, it's a private bank, it's a private organization, and the Federal Reserve Act 1913 gives a federal charter to about a dozen banks, so private banks. I'm not a big fan of that. Everybody should read G. Edward Gifford's book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. But what if President Trump is trying to create an alternative to the Federal Reserve, to crush the deep state and their funding and all they're doing, and that's assuming that's what he's doing? Could he be going to sell this land to some huge conglomerate of cryptocurrencies to build a new system that backs a new currency system? Absolutely so.
Really? This is one implication that we need to think about it, at least. They haven't said openly at this point that this bill is tied to that. However, Lutnick very clearly said just after the election that they want to get their hands on all of the $1 trillion plus assets of the United States and digitize the whole thing. And, this could be, I thought at the time, that could be the plan to get us out of national debt.
Now, I hate to say, I told you so, but this is what my show was on June 10th, 2011.
There you go.
June 10th, 2011. Here you go. Is it possible that a regional currency for North America could be backed by land? Could this explain why the federal government is taking land from many states and federalizing hundreds of square miles? Well, it's more than hundreds. It should be millions, but or thousands. Yeah. So I was kicking that idea around back in 2011 because I'm thinking, how are you going to prop up a failed or failing fiat currency, hard assets, land, right? So all of these things are on the table, right?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And remember that Trump talked about freedom cities. How freedom cities, at least they're talking about at least 10 to be built, who knows where, but this could be part of that idea to create public-private partnerships to build freedom cities. When we say freedom, we're talking about free, like 15-minute cities, smart cities, surveillance cities, whatever. They're not going to be oriented to freedom for the American people for sure. But this is the idea. The technocrats, people like Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, Silicon Valley at large, they wanted to create city-states within America already to establish them as mini technates, if you will, not controlled by the county authorities or the city authorities. We see many of these around the country. For instance, there was one in the Bay Area just recently that's been established close to an air base up there. It's just outside, about the west of San Francisco and a little bit north. They wanted to create a city, a smart city from scratch, and they want to have this whole city being inhabited basically by technocrats, and they're going to call all the shots. And this is not American at all. This is no way considered part of America, and they want it that way. So this business of the network state within a state is just absolutely insane. We should not do that at all. But you can see the thinking, I think, with this first sale of land, 2 or 3 million acres. That would be chump change for some of these people, like BlackRock, for instance, or State Street. They could probably cough up the money in a heartbeat.
Think about this for a minute. What what if, and again, I'm just thinking out loud, what if Donald Trump is like, I'm so sick of the deep state and all they did to me and to the country, and I know where their power base is. I know what it is where they really get their money from. It's from the Federal Reserve, the banks, this progressive income tax system. Let's build a whole new system. Let's build a whole new system. And being a guy that comes out of the business world and out of development, what if he's saying, if you could take and create a Federal Reserve system, which is a private system, why couldn't you just create another private system? They've already done it since 1913. Why not this time create another private system of big government and big business that destroys this other system? So if you're Donald Trump and you're thinking, how do I get back at these people that came after me, my family, and the country? Let's destroy their system in place of a new system. And you and I keep talking about the new system. And we've played the clips of the guy from Palantir. Remind me of his name again. What the one that wants to talk about Revelation and the Antichrist all the time?
Yeah, Peter Thiel.
Peter Thiel, thank you. Peter Thiel. He kept talking about, a new system, right? You can have the Antichrist system or this new system, right? So what if Donald Trump is saying, hey, they created a private system. We're going to follow their lead. And we're going to create a private system, and our system will destroy their system. So isn't this now coming down to a battle of systems and who controls the systems?
It is. My guess would be that at least this first chunk of land for like 2 million acres plus, probably that's going to be bought with some type of a cryptocurrency, perhaps Bitcoin, for instance. And if that establishes the model, if you will, privately, of how to digitize other land in America, that leaves the government right behind to digitize everything at some point. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And if
so, are you saying it's laying the foundation for the private companies to come in and buy it, and they buy it with cryptocurrency or Bitcoin?
Yes.
And then that lays the legal framework for the federal government to say, well, you know what? We'll just tokenize all the land and back this new currency system we're creating.
Exactly.
Because I was reading the other day that President Trump and Barron Trump have made millions of dollars on cryptocurrency. Have you?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, they have. Yeah, they have.
So they kind of know how this thing works. And I guess Barron is supposedly the one that's taught Trump this, right?
I think so. But, he has so many people around him, like David Sachs, for instance, one of the original founders of PayPal. So, he has lots of people that are savvy on cryptocurrency, and including Howard Lutnick, by the way. He's been touting cryptocurrencies all along the way, and in terms of nationalizing the assets of, well, it's already owned by the government, but to digitize the assets of the country so that they can make money on those assets. If it just sits there as land and timber and gold mine and whatever, oil, it's no good to anybody. But they're saying, well, if we could just make 1% even on this, these assets that we own, why, we could just do everything, pay down the national debt, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, that's stretching. That's not going to happen. But I don't have the clip with me right now where Lutnick talks about that. But it was stunning to me that he just flat out said, if we can get our hands on this whole business of all the land and the resources that the federal government owns, why, we could. And he talks about Elon Musk as well in the same breath. Elon and I can make even 1%. Why, we could just, do everything we wanted to do in our country, or make America great again, et cetera, et cetera. I'm sorry, Howard, that's not your land in the first place. That you could just take it at your will, and I don't care if you work for the government or not. This is not your land to take in the first place. This is the people's land.
That's right. Logan, could you find that clip? Howard Lutnick talking about land and monetizing it. We'll see if we can find it. Is it just me, guys? For the last several weeks, every time I try to search something on X, this is what I get. You know? It's ridiculous. Look at that. We'll put in Howard Lupnick. I'm going to try to search. Nothing. I don't know. I hate to say it, but X is becoming more and more less valuable to me all the time with all the glitches. I don't know why the guy has so many glitches. If he's such a computer whiz and building this big data center here in the Mid-South, he can't run X. Keep that going. Maybe the guy's focusing on too much with his rockets blowing up. Didn't one just blow up the other night? Didn't one blow up?
I think
Logan? So. Yeah, but I can't even get X to work some of the times. That's for sure. My power just went off 5 times in a matter of 60 seconds.
Wow.
On Saturday. I don't know if it was this new data center of Musk or not. I don't know. But beautiful sunny day, the power went up and down 5 times Saturday morning. I don't know what that's about. I want to ask you when we come back real quick about another article at technocracy.news. Mexico is the new China? Or as Trump would say, China. We'll deal with that with Patrick Wood of Technocracy.news right after this. Don't go away.
True beauty isn't applied. It's nourished from within. Bella Grace Elixir, a luxurious, scientifically crafted blend designed to restore radiance, vitality, and strength at a cellular level. At the heart of Bella Grace Elixir lies cat's claw, a powerful herb from the Amazon known for its ability to control inflammation and protect collagen. With Verisaw collagen peptides, it goes beyond the surface, stimulating your body's natural collagen production to reduce fine lines, improve skin elasticity, and promote real, visible change. Bella Grace Elixir doesn't stop at collagen. It includes astaxanthin, one of nature's most powerful antioxidants. 6,000 times stronger than vitamin C, astaxanthin protects your skin from harmful UV rays and environmental stress, while locking in hydration and promoting a radiant, youthful glow. Experience the power of nature with Bella Grace Elixir at melissahousebg.com. Discover the science behind Bella Grace Elixir at melissahousebg.com. Read powerful testimonials from doctors and real customers who've experienced life-changing results, and explore other wellness products from Bella Grace. Bella Grace Elixir is more than just a product. It's a solution. Visit melissahousebg.com today.
Looking for a trusted source to understand today's world through a Christian worldview? Worldview Tube is built on the 35 years of Worldview books, columns, research, and high-profile interviews of Brannon Howse. Want to know more about Worldview Tube, its founder, history, team, and mission? Visit worldviewtube.com/about. That's worldviewtube.com/about. Worldview Tube is your source for understanding the times through the lens of a Christian worldview.
All right, welcome back. Glad you're with us. Worldview Radio, our website, Worldview Radio. No, this is Worldview Tube. I feel like I'm on radio today. That's autopilot we just saw there. WorldviewTube.com, not Worldview Radio. WorldviewTube.com. All right, joining me again is Patrick Wood. We're going to go to another article here real quick. And here it is. Pippi Malmgren. Mexico is the new China. She's the one that talked about going to a new digital currency and all that back at one of these events. I think the World Economic Forum. And now she says it's the new China. Patrick, why is she saying Mexico's the new China?
Wow, this is a really interesting tell, I think, because she's been plugged into the global elite establishment for a long time. She doesn't surface much, but we caught her in that Mideast conference on world government, I think it was.
Oh, that's right. It was a summit on world government.
Exactly, and she just blurted it out that well, we're going to blockchain. Everything's going to be blockchain. She said. Well, now it's playing out, isn't it? So now she's saying that China, or Mexico rather, is becoming the new China as far as the United States is concerned. They have the infrastructure, they have manufacturing base, et cetera. No shipping, no container shipping. Everything can be brought up by rail, for instance. So, even if you discount what she's saying, maybe they have the ability to be, an industrial base for us. I see this as a setup, a trial balloon for establishing the North American Union.
Bingo.
Period. End of subject.
Bingo.
I know.
Which fits with President Trump talking about Canada as the 51st state, and of course all the maps we've shown going back to the 1930s of Mexico, Canada, America, all in red is one. I mean, this of course fits with Bible prophecy. The 10 horns or 10 kings who have not yet received a kingdom, but who for 1 hour will receive authority as kings and then give their power to the Antichrist. The world divided into 10 regions, which the Club of Rome has done years ago. The United Nations has done. The European Commission has done. They've all divided the world into 10 regions. So you have your North American Union. We already know from the former president of Mexico, Vicente Fox, he told Larry King, we've played the video many times, that Larry King says, were you talking about an Amero? An Amero, one currency? Oh, that'd be down the line. He didn't say no. He said that'd be down the line, right? So this has all been going on and in the works. And we were called conspiracy theorists and kooks, and it's all playing out. Like everything else we've said, it's all playing out, right? People saying in 2011 that, hey, the federal government's going to use the land that they're grabbing from states to back our currency and a North American currency. You guys just saw, I talked about that back in June of 2011 on my radio show. That's kooky talk, right? That's what people say. Voila, here we are.
Exactly. I was involved in the fight in 2005 and 6 and 7 when George Bush W was partnered with, we call them the three amigos, right? Where they're trying to abscond with America and Mexico and Canada. Forget it. We're going to have a regional governance. We're going to have security around the whole region, et cetera, a unified military command and all that kind of stuff. We fought it tooth and nail, and we shot it down. We absolutely shut it down.
And whose wife was, according to my book, Becoming Religious Reich in 2016, whose wife was reportedly on the inside, had been working with the big banks and was working in the Bush administration, George W., to bring that about. Let's see. Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz, right?
That's right.
And who, as a U.S. senator, was pushing the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which basically would create, again, these unions. Oh, wait a minute. That would be Ted Cruz himself. Sorry, I haven't trusted Ted ever since then. I don't trust Ted. Doesn't mean I don't agree with him on things, but there are people in this audience that just love Ted Cruz. That's because you don't know Ted Cruz. I don't know many people that know Ted Cruz that like Ted Cruz once you get to know him, okay? And his daddy is even more peculiar person. I mean, President Trump, is that he the one that said when he was running the first time that Ted Cruz's dad was there with having something to do with the Kennedy assassination on the ground there? Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But there are pictures out there that I think Roger Stone was putting it out the other day. Wasn't that Roger Stone, Logan? Go pull up Roger Stone's tweet from the other day. I think Roger Stone was showing that. So all I'm saying is there's a lot of shady characters around here. Here we go, Roger Stone. Here we go. A lot of shady characters running around here, some of them. And I'm not so sure about Mr. Rafael Cruz, who, by the way, I've got him on video speaking at some of the new Apostolic Reformation so-called churches, the new prophets and apostles. So I just don't trust the Cruz family. I'm sorry. Here's Roger. After the National Enquirer exposed Ted Cruz for serial... Okay, I don't want to even get into that. That's his business. Let's see here. Okie dokie. All right. Cruz also blames me for accurately reporting that his father, Rafael Cruz, was indeed an associate of Lee Harvey Oswald. This is not only confirmed by photos included in the Warren Commission report, but also has been confirmed by Judith Berry Baker, who was Oswald's mistress, who told me Angel Cruz was among those in New Orleans distributing fair trade play for Cuba literature that JFK researchers have tracked to the FBI operative Guy Bannister. Ted Cruz, his meltdown in public over this was one of the most enjoyable things I've ever seen. Now, this was put out by Roger Stone on February 21st. I can neither confirm nor deny. He says that's Rafael Cruz right there, and there's Lee Harvey Oswald. Okay, now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But this is interesting to me because I think, and I know we're on another track here, Lee Harvey Oswald was probably working for our government. He was probably in the military, intelligence, CIA, FBI. There's a lot of information about that in his pay stubs that Rogers talked about. I wouldn't doubt that Mr. Cruz, Rafael Cruz, if that's really him, would have been working with someone like Oswald if their goal was to penetrate the communist groups and find out about the communist groups in America. Then Mr. Cruz, Rafael, would be doing something I think I would agree with and very patriotic. I think Oswald was set up in a patsy. That being said, if that is Rafael Cruz Sr., and I don't know that it is, I'm just telling you what Rogers put out there, you've got a guy who's now got his son as the U.S. Senator running around pushing TPP, which then U.S. Senator from Alabama, help me out, U.S. Senator from Alabama, Jeff Sessions was horribly opposing it. My friend Phyllis Schlafly was opposing it. I was opposing it. But again, all my research shows Ted Cruz's wife was involved in this with George W., and then Ted's pushing TTP in the Senate. So again, I don't know. This is kind of an interesting family, is what I'm saying.
It really is. And don't forget that George H.W. Bush was the director of the CIA for many years.
Yep.
Before he got into politics.
Yep.
So there you go. So, well, all that to say, by the way, that Pippa is the perfect person to float this trial balloon, in my opinion, because she has no baggage at all. She's not a lightning rod, right? She's not going to be igniting spot fires anywhere. And she's a perfect one to kind of, lay this out for people to chew on.
Yep.
So
be aware. All of this might be coming down to what we've been talking about for years, grabbing land, backing a new North American currency, digitizing it however they want to do. It all adds up, and it all traces back to some very odd things in the BBB, right?
Yep, exactly right.
All right,
yep.
More at technocracy.news, technocracy.news. And I would fully invite Heidi Cruz or Ted Cruz on my show to agree, disagree, refute, condemn, whatever, anything has been said tonight. We give fair play to everybody, but I will not hold my breath that Ted or Heidi will show up on the broadcast. How about you, Patrick? Do you think they will?
Or I'm not sure that Pippa, maybe she'll come on.
He's welcome as well. Okay? Technocracy.news. Thank you.
You bet.
Appreciate it.